This morning, I want to address as clearly, concisely, as candidly, and transparently my view of the way things have unfolded in the last few days and the situation with Chris Reed's resignation and some other from his position. It was a complete surprise to me. I should say it shocked me but did not surprise me.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to another video on this channel. And in today's video we are going to review a statement that Rick Joyner, the founder of Morning Star Ministry, that he released this past weekend, reacting to the latest resignation of Chris Reed, who had succeeded him as the senior pastor of the Morning Star Church and also the CEO and leader of the Morning Star Ministries. And in that statement, we are going to listen to what he said, but he exposed Chris Reed as a liar. First of all, that Chris and the lady who they were in a relationship with lied to the extent in which they went in that relationship. Initially, they had said there was no physical touch, etc., but now the evidence that they have, it proves otherwise. He also said that Chris fooled him. And if the revelations coming out right now, if he knew all that, he wouldn't have ordained him as his successor at Morning Star Ministry. So let's get back to this video, watch, and I'll be back with more commentary. Let's go.
There were some ways when I'd seen some things that were indications to me something's not right here. But I often wondered maybe I overloaded him in dumping such a responsibility, and a complex one, where we're a pretty large, multifaceted ministry with a lot of details, a lot of stuff. And it seemed in one part that is just way too much for him. But now, these things I have shared with Chris, just so I am you. But what alarmed me even more was that in these letters, there was almost no regard for the church, no regard for the ministry, no regard for a lot of people. It was all about him and his future and what he needed to do. And I'm for that. You know, I want him to have the brightest future he could have, but I did not feel that there was a shepherd's heart revealed. A shepherd lays down their life for the sheep and certainly has regard for them. I didn't feel like there was regard for me, for our board, any of this stuff, that we had entrusted a lot to him. And I don't think to just quit like that is what we ever need to do with anyone, with no notice.
So, ladies and gentlemen, any professional can agree with Rick Joyner that how Chris Reed resigned in a professional world, that's very much wrong. It's not one of the best practices, because I think he should have prepared the board, prepared the staff that he was leading, and even probably appoint or mentor a replacement when he leaves. Unfortunately, when he resigned on a Monday, he had just preached during the Sunday service. And I feel this was very wrong. So, and that's one thing personally I don't agree with Chris Reed. So, on this video, he also talked of the lawsuit that the ministry has been sued by the family of the boys who were molested by this former volunteer who was also a policeman. So let's hear the details that he provides.
We do have a lawsuit that has been filed against us for something that happened with some of our youth, young men. I believe it was one of the most atrocious, terrible things that we've ever had happen. But the accusations in the lawsuit were wildly untrue. I mean, way out of the box untrue. But one of our volunteers used their position, and they were not an employee of the ministry, but used their relationship or whatever, and some stuff happened with these young men that it was just awful. And we need to face it and deal with it. Now, our lawyer sitting over here, I'm giving him a heart attack or a nervous breakdown so, with all the way I share some things. But I told him we're not going to look at anything, and he agreed with this. We're not going to look at anything at I shouldn't say anything, but we're not going to first look at situations for their prospective liability. We're going to look at them. We're going to do whatever we can to keep our people safe and to learn everything we need to learn from any mistakes we've done, any negligence, anything like that. The main thing we're doing is we don't want this to ever happen again to anyone. Okay, that's our perspective. We want the truth. We're looking at this from, we need the truth.
I think that's an amazing heart posture as they go to defend themselves in this lawsuit. And as you can hear Ricky saying that they are not going there to stand against the victims, but they will be on the victim side. And basically they are going with an open heart to learn lessons and to see what are the mistakes or negligence that they allowed in their ministry that allowed this abuse to happen. I think that's a very appropriate and a good heart posture. And we can only pray that at the end of this case, truth will be known. People who are capable or they allow these things or maybe sweep it under the carpet will be held to account, and justice will be served to the victims. So we can only pray for this ministry, Rick Joyner and his team of lawyers, pray for the victims, and also pray for the abusers, that God will touch their hearts, that they will repent even as they face the consequences of their actions. So now, in this next segment of this video, we are going to hear as Rick Joyner reacts to what he knew about Chris Reed and Catherine's relationship, which has just come to light with more details that he didn't know about. So let's listen, and then I'll be back with more commentary.
We've been investigating the things that have been coming out in the news against Chris. We had done this before. And this thing you may have heard about him and this texting relationship took place, several years, a couple of years ago or more. And, we looked into it as much as we knew how to at the time. We spent, Tom and I, several hours with Chris and the girl that was supposedly involved that had been an MSU student. She was not a young girl. She was just a few years younger than Chris. She was a lady, a woman. And they both, in every way we knew to ask the question, they said there had been no physical contact. Just texts and things like this. And Chris had gone to his wife, Missy, with this, showed her his phone, showed her the text, and to me, in every way that we could find out at that time, he had done the right thing in responding to this. Okay, But anyway, we felt responsible to take it to our whole board of directors. And if you don't know who our board is, I think we got one of the strongest boards of any organization I know of people who are on a world-class level in many fields. They've seen almost everything. They've been, anyway, they're not going to shove anything under the rug. They're not going to, not examine everything. Chris came and presented to the board, and I thought candidly and all what had happened. His wife Missy came in, presented, and there to the same thing, and we all decided it still showed incredible naivety or something. It was just to have started such a relationship, was incredibly unwise at best. It was a transgression, I believe. So he was put in a place of, parole kind of, where went on a process of restoration, where he met with Tom, I think, once a week, and but because we believe in Galatians 6:1, where it says, brethren, even if anyone is caught in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, each one look into yourself, so that you too will not be tempted. Now, this includes the words anyone, which includes anyone, and, caught in any trespass. Get them back, restore them, and that means more than forgive them. It means get them back from where they fell. But, he was being prepared to take over the leadership of the ministry and all. Well, all that was put on hold during this process. And after a little time, we made him acting president, acting CEO, because that was part of the process. And I honestly wanted to see how he's going to behave when he gets authority. Is he going to do another stupid thing like this? But that was part of the process. Some people have a concept of ministry that if you put someone in ministry, that you're exalting them, you're lifting them up. True New Testament biblical ministry is the opposite. It's the opposite. And I believe I have seen people put in ministry as a part of their restoration process. True ministry, which is sacrifice, taking up your cross, learning to serve others, it really helps them to get through that. And we've seen tremendous results in a restoration process by doing that at times. But the concept of ministry today, to me, is not biblical. That this is some way you get everybody looking up to you. Now, it's because I think a lot of ministry today is not the real thing. I think there are very few true shepherds in the church today. They're professionals. It's a profession, not a calling. And it's a way for them to exalt themselves, to lift, to climb the ladder. And it's to me, exactly opposite of what it's supposed to be. Now, how would you feel if when you were a child or something, and your dad had come home one day and said, family, I've really loved being with you and having you as my family, but I just got an offer from a bigger family, bigger paycheck, and so I'm going to go be their father now. What does that do to family? What does that do to your trust? And isn't this more what ministry today really has become, a profession? And I honestly do believe there are very few shepherds with a shepherd's heart that are really seeking to protect God's people as he said they would, which is lay down their life if they have to for the people. And so here we are. Now, all this stuff comes out, and I go back and I think, well, wait a minute. This lady affirmed to us as strongly as I could imagine there was nothing physical in this relationship. She and Chris both affirmed that. The mother affirmed it. She didn't think anything had happened. We had to take their word that they cut it off, drawn a line, nothing physical had happened. Well, now I can say with a lot of confidence that's not true. Neither one of them were telling us the truth then. Okay? It appears, and I say there's a lot of evidence, and it's mounting that yes, there was physical stuff that happened. Maybe not intercourse, maybe it was not sex. I think stuff happened. That's where I am now, and all I can say is the evidence is mounting. And I don't know where it's going to lead, but we're going to not cover up anything. And because some things were said that they weren't, now we think we've got to tell the truth about it. We cannot cover up the truth, okay? And we want to find the truth.
You can tell that Rick Joyner is quite disappointed by this whole story involving Chris Reed and Catherine, and the fact that they lied to him, they lied to the board, and they gave half-truths of exactly what transpired. And as you can hear him say, is he knew the full truth, then he wouldn't have ordained Chris Reed to take over leadership at Morning Star Ministries. So it's a season of regrets, but at the same time, he has a rave review of his performance at the helm of Morning Star Ministries. And he's saying that his heart goes out to Chris. He wants the best for him. He still has a place in Morning Star, and if he could come back, and he wants community, he wants fellowship, he's welcome at Morning Star, but not to take back his position. He will still need to go back through a season of restoration until he proves himself that he is fit and ready to lead Morning Star. So let's listen to Rick as he explained how the future at Morning Star looks like.
Right now, I would, if Chris asked to come back here, I would say absolutely. We welcome you back. But you're not going to be in leadership. I mean, you've disqualified yourself from that. You can qualify yourself with your good behavior and really submitting to the process, and where we really know you're telling us the truth about everything. Anybody we will take back and work with and be happy to. And we would love to help Chris in that way. He needs help right now. And I think in spite of all this, and this is bad, I think he did some great things for us. He's really been a blessing. And Chris was the closest thing I had to a spiritual son. I mean, I just thought the world of Chris. And in some ways, I still think he had some of the best qualities for leadership that I'd seen in a young person like that. But he had obviously some things that came up and have now appeared that would disqualify him. And I think do disqualify him. Now, I am back, like I said, as president and CEO of the ministry, but I'm going to be a whole lot more engaged. Thank you. I'm going to be much more engaged in this church, too. But I'm also engaged in what's going on in Moravian Falls. Something really special is happening up there. I'm going to be both. And I love it. I missed being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. So just note, this was a whole 1 hour statement that also included his sermon during the church service. So I have selected the specific moments where he addressed this whole Chris Reed and Catherine's saga. So I hope you've enjoyed. Please, if you're new in this channel, consider subscribing. I'll be bringing you more videos like this to keep you informed, and at the same time to give you direction on how you ought to pray for the church. Because at the end of the day, these souls, they are important before God, and we need to keep lifting them up as they offer themselves to minister to us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would want to hear your comments and to read them. So leave your comment below, like this video, and also subscribe, and see you in my next video. God bless you, and I love you so much.